Thank you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. It helps our channel grow. It helps our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know as we're talking college football on this channel year-round. Appreciate your support. Click that subscribe button. Colorado, how about them Buffs hosting Kansas State? The line in this game, Kansas State opened as a 5.5-point favorite. It is down to 4.5. The over-under set at 56.5 in this game. And it's funny because I'll tell you this is going to sound crazy. People are going to get mad. I think you can argue in terms of the significance of this game on the entire season that this is the most important game of the weekend. That sounds crazy. You're going to say, Torres, you're out of your mind. You're going to say, Torres, you've been drinking that Coach Prime Kool-Aid and you need to calm down. Here's why it is, in my opinion, arguably the most important game of this weekend. Oregon, Ohio State. Whoever loses, they're still going to have a very clear pathway back to the Big Ten championship game, back to the number one seed. Texas, Oklahoma. If Texas loses, guess what? You get Georgia next week. You beat Georgia. Everybody forgets what happens against Oklahoma. USC, Penn State. Penn State loses. You got Ohio State in a few weeks. Go prove us wrong there. This is why this game is consequential. Kansas State was the preseason favorite to win the Big 12. They already have one Big 12 loss. They easily could have lost a second game on the road this season. And the Big 12 is probably going to be a one-bid league. You lose this game to start 1-2 in Big 12 play, you could be in big-time trouble. And then there's the Colorado perspective. We've talked about Colorado, but they're 4-1, 2-0 in the Big 12. You win this game, Colorado, there is, I'm just telling you, a very clear pathway to the Big 12 championship game. You have Arizona next week. Arizona's a mess under Brent Brennan. You get Cincinnati at home, Utah at home. I don't even know what Utah is. Maybe Cam Rising will be healthy by then. Maybe they won't be. Oklahoma State's a mess. Kansas is a mess, 0-3 in the Big 12. Texas Tech is really tough. Not going to lie. But I think if you win this game, there are two games the rest of the year where you're not favored. At Texas Tech and Utah at home if Cam Rising is healthy. And I don't think there's a single game that you cannot win. And so when we talk about this game, this is what it's going to come down to. A couple things. One, we got to give credit where it's due. That Colorado defense specifically and the Colorado run defense to me has been really good. Now, look, you can't quantify it necessarily with a statistic, okay? And the reason you can't quantify it is because in week one, they did struggle against North Dakota State. And then 2 weeks ago against UCF rushed for 177 yards on the ground. And so you sit there and say, well, how good is the defense? Well, UCF, was averaging 375 yards on the ground per game. So they held them to less than half their average. And it was just a great effort by Colorado in that game. Kansas State certainly wants to run the ball. Kansas State has been effective running the ball. Can you slow down that run offense? And here's the other part. Can you make Avery Johnson beat you with his arm? Listen, I got to give Avery Johnson credit. Avery Johnson is the Kansas State quarterback. He is a guy that I did not believe coming into this year. He was really good 2 weeks ago against Oklahoma State. 3 touchdowns, 259 yards passing. But here are his stats on the road. Against BYU, 15 of 28, 130 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Against Tulane, 15 of 23, 181 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, no INTs. So from Colorado's perspective, if they want to win this game, it's going to come down to two things. One, can you stop the run or can you at least slow it down with Avery Johnson at quarterback? But then two, on the offensive side of the football, here's the big question, and I am excited to see the answer to this one. Can you run the ball enough to keep that defense honest with Shedeur Sanders? Because here's the bottom line about Kansas State, okay? Their strengths and weaknesses are pretty clear on defense. They stop the run at a very effective rate. They are currently 16th in the country in rush defense, number 2 in the Big 12, behind UCF. They're 110th in pass defense, okay? And so you look at this game, go back to that Tulane game that I mentioned a minute ago. They ended up winning that game 34-27. Tulane finished with 342 yards of total offense. Now, with respect to Tulane's quarterback in that game, he ain't Shedeur Sanders. Sorry, Darian Mensah, if you're watching this show, I'm sure you're a great kid. You ain't Shedeur, okay? And that's not disrespect. It's just a fact. But Shedeur is balling. Brock Heward said it in the UCF game. The Colorado receiver corps, Texas and Ohio State probably have more pure NFL guys, which, by the way, when you recruit like Texas and Ohio State, you should. But in terms of dudes that can make plays at the college level, Colorado has as many as anybody. And so because of it, I'm doing it again, baby. I'm drinking the Coach Prime Kool-Aid. Give me Colorado to win and give me Colorado to cover the 4.5. Listen, Kansas State, great program, whatever. They've struggled on the road. It's just the truth. Should have lost to Tulane, could have lost to Kansas State. Colorado, criticize Coach Prime for whatever you want. The offensive line is blocking well. The run game has been as good as it's been. The run game doesn't need to be great in this game. It just needs to be good enough where Shedeur has enough time to find those receivers and Shedeur has enough time to make plays. The money is coming in on Colorado. I don't think it's just because they're a public team. I think this is a good matchup for them. Give me Colorado to win. Give me Colorado to cover. I like the Buffs.